So these man them are doing roadworks up the street. See if I can zoom into these fuckers. And look at the driveway. Bruv, how am I meant to get my car out of there? My car's parked there. Can't even see it, bruv. Let me zoom out. My car's there. I'm meant to fit my car through that little gap there. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna have to take the Peugeot 107 back out again. Shout out OGs that remember that car there. What a beauty that was. That was what we call the pussy wagon. I actually picked up about, I'll keep in mind I was in a long-term relationship, but I did pick up a few girls in that car prior to my relationship. So regardless of the car, lads, listen, regardless of what car that you drive, you can still pick up girls. And I picked up a few girls in this, and I've actually had a bit of dogging in there as well. Like, imagine Big G dogging in there. Sheesh, absolute mazza. So yeah, back to what I was saying. I'm not sure how I'm gonna fucking get my car out. Can my car fit through that little gap there? I think it could, but I'm gonna have to maneuver that car on the driveway. What stress and what content you're watching. This is like the debate. Jesus, this is the debate of my life right now. Look at him. Oh. Although I'm not happy with you, you always growl at him. Leave the poor bastard alone. Stop. Can't give me shit in it. All you want to do is just piss everyone off. You're 13 and you think you're hard. You think you've lived life. Only 13 years, mate. Ain't ya? You're still the OG. Everyone loves you. Everyone loves you. Can't forget about the OG. Yeah? You're looking at me, brother. I refuse to get out of this car and defrost it. There's no way in how I'm doing that. Remember in my, if you followed my old videos, I used to boil the kettle and just fucking put boiling hot water over the windshield on the Peugeot 107. I'd never do this to this car. It's not worth the risk. I happily just sit here, put my foot down on the accelerator, get like 1,500 revs, and then all of a sudden, bosh, it's done in the next 5 minutes. Sorry, Diesel, mate, you're gonna have to wait. On that note, it's bloody Baltic this morning. Jeez. Now I do look like I don't criminate like this, innit? Look, no one will come up to me looking like this. You just wouldn't. You'd just keep going, wouldn't you? You'd look in my car and then you'd think, oh shit. You do that one. You know when you look and then someone sees you, like, you do that. Look, it's even that Baltic that the fucking window won't go down. Look, fucking just frozen, mate. Just have to keep doing this. Look at that content. Really annoying when you've got a impatient little shit in the car with you that doesn't understand that this stuff happens and you need to be patient. So just relax. We're gonna go in a second, yeah? We're just waiting for it to actually defrost, which, on that note, come on, we're getting somewhere with it. Love you. Your birthday's tomorrow, it's gonna be 2. Big boy Diesel's gonna be 2, eh? Diesel, you're gonna be 2? You're 2 years old? Speak. Speak. Yeah, good lad. Good speak. Come in this fucking car, I dare ya. We'll do nothing, mate. Feel and look fucked. Holy moly. Like, this is, I don't mind being cold, yeah, wrapping up duvets, blankets, nice warm socks. I don't mind that, yeah, I rate it. But when you come outside and it's like this, and it's just cold, there's cold air, your nose is cold. Luckily I've got a beard on my chin because I would be freezing right now. Shout out to the people that can't grow a beard. I feel sorry for you, man. I feel sorry for you. I'll shave this off and grow back in a week. But yeah, shout out people that are bald on the chin, because my chin is nice and warm right now, that's for sure. I'm gonna take a sip of my Monster before I do this voiceover. See if you can hear it. Jeez, that went down the wrong hole. Oh, I'm sorry. Wow, what a great start to the voiceover. I didn't expect that to happen. I posted a photo on Instagram the other day. As always, follow me on there, George Osborne 12, of my back progress recently. I've been keeping my physique updates very minimal updates at the moment because there's not much to show. But when I do show something, it's like, okay, there's a difference here. And then I put a comparison up of what my back looked like in 2019 versus what it looks like now, 2 years on. And in this voiceover, I wanted to go through more detail of how I've done that and what I think you should be doing to
improve your posterior chain. So throw it back to 2019. I got feedback from the judges and my coach, and we looked back, and posterior chain when I turned to the rear was a big weakness for me. I got beaten from most rear shots. I'm good from the side. My front is probably the weakest, and my posterior chain was the weakest as well. So I knew when I turned around, like even when I was doing my posing on stage, I didn't really do too much like back poses because I knew it was a big weakness. So I've gone away 2020, 2021, and I've really put tons of effort into developing my back. And I'm going to go through a few things in this voiceover that you can implement to improve your back as well if it is a weakness or just generally wanting to improve. So the biggest debate here is obviously the stiff legs that I'm doing right now. Should we be eccentrically overloading our hip hinges? So whether it's a deadlift, whether it's an RDL, stiff leg. And in my opinion, yes, I think you should. Like I've always said to myself, make exercises as hard as you possibly can. That being said, let's look at guys like Keefe, who, let's be honest, he doesn't really control his eccentrics at all. And look at his posterior chain. He's got a fantastic posterior chain. So I'd always say it's very person dependent. Like if you have seen good results from just lifting weight from A to B, I would simply continue doing that. If you've found results from obviously eccentrically loading your deadlifts, then I would simply do that as well. So for me, the rationale behind, like I said, why I do it is I think controlling the eccentric is making the exercise harder, and I always want to make exercises as hard as I possibly can. I don't want to make it easier for myself. I want to make it the most challenging it possibly could be. There is obviously a massive debate between using a belt and not using a belt. Me right now, I'm using a belt for the purpose of allowing me to think about using more of my core and engaging it, not necessarily protecting my lower back. So everyone has different rationales behind particular reasons for using a belt or not, but that's the reason that I typically use a belt for. I don't think I explained that very well then. Whatever came out of my mouth, I hope you understand. I always think a chest supported row is an absolute must in a program. The ability to brace your chest into the pad and allow your elbows to fully retract, and then obviously thinking about or allowing your elbows to fully retract your scapula, I think is an absolute must as well. Obviously people do like the dual dumbbell rows that you see, the barbell rows, and I think they do have a time and place. But I think if you really want to get the most out of your back and back thickness, a machine like this or a T-bar row or even like an incline dumbbell bench row, I think in your program needs to be an absolute must. It allows you to fully take it to muscular failure compared to hip hinges like a barbell row, dual dumbbell row, even like a seated row, where, let's be honest, you can use a little bit of momentum. You can obviously break down in other areas like obviously your hips, your lower back, your hamstring, your glutes. You've got more to think about. So I would certainly say like you should be incorporating a chest supported row in your program. I think that's an absolute must. This one is probably one of my favorites. The prime row is definitely up there as my favorite too, but this Cybex row they've got at Le Coach here is really, really good. I always think a pull down variation needs to be in a program as well. At the moment I'm using like a prime grip here with like a slight supine to the at the wrist. Fuck me, start at the wrist. I like to use that myself. Again, what I'm trying to think about here is just driving my elbows down. Like if you look from a side profile, probably not the best clip to look at, you'll notice that the cable just comes down in a straight line. What I do with my setup is I slightly lean back and I just think about, right, bringing my elbows in front of me and down. So I think either an assisted pull-up or a pull-up or even a pull-down like I'm doing right now, I think is an absolute must. You can see it from this angle what I mean. Like the cable just comes straight down. I'm slightly leaning back. I'm staying within my active range. I see a lot of people overextend at the top. So they think that they're stretching their lats even more, when realistically that overextended at the top is just, in my opinion, you're going to be using a lot more bicep and you're also going to be using a lot more shoulder, rotator cuff, that sort of stuff. I don't believe it provides any sort of benefit. So staying within your sort of natural arm length, I think is quite important. So yeah, a pull down variation in your programs is an absolute must. I just wanted to show you where sort of my failure points were on this particular set. So I always go to the point where I can't actually physically get it short anymore, and then I just try and rep out a few more to get that full muscular failure. I think the new exercise that I've incorporated is this sort of high to low D-handle pull down. I think And this sounds so cliche when everyone says, oh, you need to hit the back from all different angles or the muscle from all different angles. And I certainly believe that is true. Like, I believe in pullovers. I believe in single arm horizontal rows. I believe in pull downs like this. I believe in pull downs like I did just a second ago. I really do believe that hitting your back from all different angles, especially the lats, is going to really develop your back overall. So this exercise, what I'm really thinking about, and the cues that I tell myself here is the first initial pull that I make is elbows down. So I'm trying to think about driving that elbow down. And then what I'm trying to think about, the second part of it, is driving that elbow towards me. Really nice exercise to hit like the mid lat. Even though you can't isolate the middle of your lat, I feel it the best when performing this exercise with those cues that I just mentioned. So thinking about driving elbow down, then thinking about bringing it into you. You can even do this just right now as you're listening to this video. Put your arm up into the air, contract your lat, thinking about driving down initially, get about halfway, and then think about driving in. And then you'll feel a good contraction on your lat. Some really ugly facials here, and probably the worst angle I think I've ever recorded myself at. Let's be honest here. Look at me, the ugly bastard. So yeah, just really learning that movement. And I've got Jodie here doing some single arm pull downs as well. Tried it with her, see how it felt, and she said it felt good. So just again, with any sort of new movement that we do, we just want to standardize that form. So this was the first time she's done this particular setup with obviously the cues that I mentioned, and we're always trying to think about, even me, like I lean to one side. You might see Jodie here leaning to one side. Obviously the arm that she's doing, she's leaning to that particular side, so the left side there. That made no sense, did it really? Let's be honest. And one of my favorite exercises is the D-handled sort of drag curl. So I think this exercise works really, really fucking well when you keep your arm behind you and you think about just dragging the D handle towards you. Now, what I do is I don't go like full range of motion. I just find that sort of peak contraction on my bicep. So keeping elbows behind, you'll see in the next clip that the angle's better when my elbows are behind me. And then I think about just dragging and crunching, like, for example, a walnut in between the creases of my elbows. Works really fucking well. One of my favorite exercises. I also had a few people question, where did I get my joggers from? And these joggers are from Primark, actually. So I don't really spend too much money on training clothing, just because I sweat like a motherfucker. And it just, why would I spend 50 quid on why would I spend 50 quid on fucking joggers when I'm just going to sweat and probably rip them? I might as well buy £5 Primark ones and yeah, fucking rip them and just get a new pair for another £5. So yeah, if you want to get some Primark joggers, links down below. Your mum's a cunt for 10% discount. Wow, what an end to a voiceover. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you gained something from it. Let me know your thoughts and yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. I have got a ring light set up behind me. Let me know what it's saying. By the looks of just looking in the camera, it looks pretty sick. So I'm hoping this will work quite nicely. Cool content, bro. Look. There we are. Got that set up nicely, making me look like a painting. Makes my eyes stand out. My eyes are my best feature. Anyway, fucking shut up, you fucking prick. Eyes are the best feature. I'm deloading from today, so 4 complete days off. Spoke to AJ this morning, and I've noticed from Monday, Tuesday, actually Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, my appetite has been off. Like, just, I've been speaking recently and fucking showing off like, oh, I can eat 4,700 calories and have no problems with my appetite. But I am noticing the past couple of days that my appetite has started to decline. I've also noticed that waking up in the morning is very, very difficult for me. And I seem to just be very slow to start my day. Everything seems a bit more of a chore. Everything's just, you know, when you wake up and it just takes you fucking hours to wake up. I remember back in my stoner days, actually, when I used to fucking smoke a spliff before I went to bed, or even wake up in the night and have a spliff and wake up the next day, and you'd have that huge hangover where it takes you about 5-6 hours to actually wake up. I've been feeling like that over the past couple of days. And for me, I think the biggest telltale sign I've learned in my years of training when I need to deload is normally dictated by my appetite and my focus. I notice in the gym that my focus isn't directly on training as much. Don't get me wrong, I am focused. When I tell you I'm focused, I am focused, but I notice myself looking around and seeing what other people are doing. I notice that I'm sitting on my phone maybe during sets when I shouldn't be, and everything's just a little bit delayed and it's taking me longer to do my sessions. Those are sort of my typical telltale signs for needing a deload. Outside of that, broken sleep is another one. I notice when my sleep is, when I'm in and out of sleep when I usually I'm quite a deep sleeper anyway, so when I'm dipping in and out of sleep, I know when something's going wrong. And that's basically just telling me that my central nervous system is quite fried, and it's waking me up throughout the night because that fatigue is just constantly there. Those are the typical signs and symptoms for me in terms of needing a deload. Now, you could look at performance, you could look at your recovery. So usually I start to consider deloading after like every 6 to sort of 8 weeks. I don't say, right, 6 weeks now, I need to fucking deload. I don't think of it like that. I think of it as, right, how far can I push this? So I try and push it as far as I can without having to deload. And I kind of almost look at the analogy of, imagine traveling up and down the country. Chances are you're not going to get from point A to point B in one length. Like if I was going from the bottom of England to the top of England or fucking Scotland, chances are I'm not going to do that in one go. I'll need to fill up at the petrol station, and a deload is almost like that, like taking a step backwards from your journey, filling up, fueling that next step of your journey. That's kind of typically how I like to, the analogy I like to use of deloading is kind of taking a step backwards in order for you to take 2 steps forward. Now, like I said, I don't typically say, right, after 6 weeks, I need to deload. Usually it falls within that sort of 6 to 8 week period. This time it was 9 weeks. I think previously I did like 7 weeks. It's smart to, as you get more advanced, it's smart to notice this sort of thing. And some people don't ever deload and won't ever need to deload. Some people like myself deload every 6 to 8 weeks. Some people deload every 4 weeks. It's just finding out what works best for you in terms of progression, in terms of recovery, and what allows you to keep progressing up the ladder. Because ideally with a deload, you want to essentially be climbing this ladder continuously, and what people do is they start to peak in terms of performance, and then that's when they know they need to deload, but they continue because they don't want to deload because they know that the performance is so high. Like right now, I'm the strongest I've ever been on most things, which has been great. And when I think about deloading right now, I think I don't want to ruin that progression, but I'm not going to be ruining that progression because I've implemented the deload up here when I've peaked my performance. What a lot of people do is they start declining and they get to about here and they're like, oh shit, I need to deload, because they start regressing in the gym, their recovery starts to suffer, their sleep, their appetite starts to suffer, and that's just, again, you not progressing at the end of the day. So they deload here, and then what happens after that deload is they have to climb back up that ladder to get to where they was previously, then surpass where they was previously. What you essentially want to be doing with a deload is getting to that peak, deloading, and then when you come back, you're at this bit here, you haven't declined, so all you simply do is you just keep climbing up that ladder. That is, in my opinion, the best way to deload. Now, it's very hard to dictate that without much training experience. The more you do this, the better you get it. So I've already told you the symptoms and things to look out for. So I will be taking the time off approach. I've done the D volumes in the past, and don't get me wrong, I think they serve a purpose, but at the same time, if I actually really want to rest and recover, then taking the time off is absolutely necessary. So 4 complete days off, that's what I'll be running from today through till Saturday. So what I'll probably do over the next couple of days is do like a full day of eating, showing you my like deload full day of eating, if you want to call it that. I might do like a Q&A style video just to mix it up a little bit, and if that's anything you guys want to see in the comments down below, make sure you let me know. Comment down below remote if you've watched the whole video. As ever, I appreciate everyone that comments, likes the videos, that sort of stuff. Like I said, I'm trying to get to 30k by the end of the year subscribers. I think I'm about 2,900 off. Don't think I'm gonna get there unless something fucking crazy happens, like this video all of a sudden blows up, which it's not going to. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Lots of love. Thank you for watching today's video. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the fucking next one.
Listen, look, I'm a London scammer. I see it, I want it, I click it. Nights in the bando, pirates whipping. Next day, man started clicking. No boo and waitress tipping. Bad beat, come and take this dinking. Codeine, that's what I'm sipping. Money, that's what I'm missing. Look, I'm a London scammer. I see it, I want it, I click it. Nights in the bando, pirates whipping. Next day, man started clicking. No boo and waitress tipping. Bad beat, come and take